Good evening, Tanse Anin. Welcome to APTN National News. I'm Daryl Stranger. The trial for a retired priest charged in a sex abuse investigation at a Manitoba residential school will continue. Day one of 2 days of testimony wrapped up in the indecent assault case against Arthur Massé, and closing arguments will continue tomorrow. 92-year-old Massé appeared to be shaky and frail while on the stand. Victoria McIntosh, now 63, is his alleged victim. She waived a publication ban that is standard in sex abuse cases. She and her supporters wore orange shirts and colorful ribbon skirts while watching the trial. RCMP conducted a lengthy investigation into the 50-year-old incident. McIntosh was a 10-year-old student at Fort Alexander Residential School where Massé was serving as an administrator. He pleaded not guilty to the charge. With thousands of cases of missing and murdered Indigenous people across the country, families and advocates gathered outside the Vancouver Police headquarters to raise awareness about what they say is police inaction in investigating these cases. APTN's Tina House has this story.
These are the faces of 3 cases of women and a young girl who were found dead under suspicious circumstances.
The police were built, yes, to serve and protect, but not Indigenous people. They were built to serve and protect the colonial systems, buildings, communities that were developed on our stolen lands.
Tatiana Harrison was just 20 years old when she stopped answering text messages from her mother and disappeared. She was last seen on the downtown east side and reported missing to Vancouver police on May the 3rd, 2022. Natasha Harrison says her daughter Tatiana's case first fell through the cracks from a jurisdictional issue.
On May 9th, you claimed she was staying in Surrey, so you sent her file to Surrey. You assured me jurisdiction wasn't an issue, and you'll communicate with each other. Later, you used jurisdiction as an excuse. Awareness was delayed 8 days because of the jurisdiction issue. Tatiana remained unidentified for 3 months, even though you were given the missing persons report and a female body recovered because of this jurisdiction issue.
On May the 2nd, the day before she was reported missing, a body was found in Richmond, and once again, due to jurisdictional issues between police departments, they failed to identify those remains until August the 5th as Tatiana. She was found in this dry-docked yacht. Police say her death was not suspicious, but with no direct transit to get to the location, her mother believes she was taken there. Harrison is demanding action and what she is calling police inaction that has prevented justice in the case of her daughter.
No cameras were checked because of this jurisdiction issue. Your investigation was delayed 24 days because of this jurisdiction issue. Evidence was missed because of this jurisdiction issue. And you left me on the downtown east side for 3 months, building support from scratch, armed with nothing but desperation and panic.
14-year-old Noello Soup was reported missing after running away from a group home on May the 12th, 2021. In February of 2022, a man who lived in this suite was found deceased. He was a known serial sex offender who was deemed a danger to the public. Police cleared the scene after he was removed from the apartment. But then, 3 months later, on May the 1st, 2022, the remains of 14-year-old Noello Soup and another woman were found in that same suite by cleaning staff after police failed to find both of them. O'Soup's family says the coroner did not attend the scene after they were found. There is currently an investigation into the first officer's conduct who cleared the scene initially.
Coming together with these 3 families too, and I appreciate everybody that's come here today as well, because it shows a strong unity in front, to me, I'm just going to blade out, call it corruption. A lot of this, needs to change, especially how you pick cops in Canada. And to me, this is the worst place of all.
Sheila Poorman's story about her missing daughter, Chelsea Poorman, is almost identical to what she is also saying is police inaction in her daughter's case. Chelsea Poorman disappeared after a night on the town on the Granville Strip in downtown Vancouver in September of 2020. 19 months later, her body was found outside of this abandoned mansion in one of Vancouver's most affluent neighborhoods. Again, police declared her death as not suspicious. And like Tatiana, her mother says police did not access surveillance video from Granville Street or consider that Chelsea had a disability and could not walk the distance to where the house was, and also could not physically scale the high gate to get onto the property by herself. Sheila says she is convinced her daughter was taken there.
They failed. They failed Chelsea, they failed Tatiana and Noella. But there's other families besides those ones that they failed. And something has to change, especially towards First Nation people.
Butterflies in Spirit founder and MMIWG advocate Lorelei Williams could not hold back her anger.
Me, the community, the Crazy Indians Brotherhood, we're all here protecting these families. We support them. Why are we doing our jobs? Do your jobs properly. Their lives matter. Do something about it.
No one from the Vancouver Police Department attended the rally. However, they did provide APTN with updates on the cases. VPD says Chelsea Poorman's case remains open, though not a criminal investigation. They can't speak to the coroner's conclusions in Tatiana Harrison's case, and that the Noello Soup investigation is ongoing. But for grieving mother Natasha Harrison, she is not satisfied.
Everything was just me and her, and they mishandled my only child's case with such disregard.
Tina House, APTN National News, Vancouver.
Justice Minister David Lametti was busy fielding questions on Canada's bail system at a parliamentary committee meeting this week. Randall McKenzie of Six Nations was out on bail when he allegedly shot and killed OPP Constable Greg Pershala while doing a roadside check in southern Ontario. Justice Harrison Errol took into account McKenzie's Indigenous background when releasing him on bail, doing so under a 1999 Supreme Court decision and what is now called a Gladue principle. It is supposed to reduce the number of Indigenous people awaiting trial. Six Nations Police Chief Darren Montour had this to say about the role Gladue plays in Canada's bail system.
Gladue factors are outweighing public safety. And going forward, I hear that from my community. I hear that from elected council members. They look at Gladue as the get-out-of-jail-free card.
On Monday, Ontario approved a First Nations-led plan to build an all-weather road. It would link a northern area known as the Ring of Fire with the rest of the province. The all-weather road will provide access to critical minerals such as cobalt, nickel, and copper. The province of Ontario accepted the reference terms submitted by the Webequie and Martin Falls First Nations so that eventually a road will link those First Nations and the nearby mineral deposits to the Ontario highway system. However, the Nisga'a First Nation opposes the plan. In a YouTube video posted Monday, Chief Wayne Muniz says his First Nation was not consulted on the project.
And that's something that the CEO of Ring of Fire Metals needs to know, that you're not going to cross our river system without our free, prior, informed consent. You're going to have to kill us. You're going to have to do more than just getting access from the province of Ontario.
All right, it's time to step aside for a moment, but still ahead, an Alberta family says vaccine rules are keeping their son on the sidelines.
I've earned my spot here, and I've been training, and I really look forward to these games. And it's like I said, it's unfair that because I'm not vaccinated that I shouldn't be allowed to compete in these games.
Welcome back to APTN National News. It should have been a done deal by now. That is, ending sexual discrimination in the Indian Act by passing Bill S3 in 2017 and restoring status to those who lost it due to women marrying non-status men. But a Senate committee is looking at a study to end the remaining discrimination in First Nations registration. Former Senator Lillian Dick appeared before it today. Dick told the committee Bill S3 didn't go far enough to include everyone. She said there are descendants who are still not eligible for status. Committee Chair Senator Brian Francis asked Dick if more consultation is needed over such issues as the second-generation cutoff to getting status. Dick replied that the government has been consulting on this issue for decades.
The government continually falls back on this consultation. But what really irks me is the fact that they only consult on something like this when they decide that they're going to change the laws, let's say on matrimonial real property. Did they consult? No, they just went ahead and did it. So it's like a tool that they can choose to use or not. And in this case, they've chosen to use it.
The North American Indigenous Games will be held in Halifax this July after a 3-year delay due to COVID. But some athletes say their vaccination status is holding them back. APTN's Chris Stewart has the story.
James Gladue has won many gold medals in his short 12 years. He excels in track events, and he was looking forward to competing against the best at the North American Indigenous Games this July in Halifax. But he can't go. A letter from organizers says that he will not be allowed due to his lack of vaccinations. His father, Travis Gladue, says the other large events, like the recent Arctic Winter Games in Fort McMurray, dropped their vaccine mandates.
Now we're past the pandemic. We're hoping that, and we're looking at other sporting events that just recently happened up north at the Arctic Games. They lifted the COVID protocols, the mandatory vaccines. So I hopefully think that, NAG could follow suit, and that, and that we could be, that all athletes can compete.
Even the World Junior Hockey Association dropped it this year. Health Canada recommends vaccines for all children, saying they are safe and effective. It says vaccines help lower your child's risk of getting seriously sick from COVID-19, and most side effects are mild. Gladue says he had a bad reaction to his own shot and wants the choice to vaccinate James.
Let him just carry on, let his immune system develop, especially at that age. Being that if you look at our history with Indigenous people, if you look at the forced sterilization, history of forced vaccination pushed onto our people, we should be learning from history and learning from what it's done to our people in the past.
His son James says he feels both disappointed and angry over the decision to keep him from participating in the games.
I've earned my spot here, and I've been training, and I really look forward to these games. It's like I said, it's unfair that because I'm not vaccinated that I shouldn't be allowed to compete in these games.
And he is not alone. Jacob Handy is the CEO of the Alberta Indigenous Games. Both his son and daughter have been told they cannot compete due to their vaccination status. He says he has talked to many parents who say these kids will miss an event that will create lifetime memories and stories. He says there is still time for organizers to change their minds.
It's a life-changing experience. A lot of kids to be able to get out of the province or out of the state, if you're looking at the Native Americans in the U.S., and to have this world life-changing experience to participate. It's like the Olympics. And for those youth throughout the U.S. and Canada that have been denied, it's devastating. And it's really hard. And, we ask that they remove the mandate, and have inclusion for all.
Ladies and gentlemen,
organizers from the 2023 North American Indigenous Games put a statement on their website saying it will continue with the mandatory COVID-19 vaccine policy for all participants, including athletes, coaches, trainers, and staff. It says Mi'kmaq elders are not comfortable with unvaccinated groups coming into their territory. The games take place from July 15th to the 23rd in Halifax and Millbrook First Nation. Chris Stewart, APTN National News, Edmonton.
Well, from playing basketball, in the Special Olympics to playing on the big screen, a First Nations actor says his dreams came true when he was cast with Woody Harrelson for the movie Champions. The heartfelt basketball film was shot here in Winnipeg and will be hitting theaters this week. Tamara Pimentel has this story.
Where do you get this guy?
He just showed up one day.
Meet Tom Sinclair, a First Nations actor from Winnipeg who will soon be on the big screen in every major theater.
I'm honored to represent the Aboriginal community on the big screen. And so if you dream it, you can make it happen. And I always thought, well, I have disabilities and everything, but that won't stop me to make my dreams come true.
The 26-year-old plays Blair in the film Champions. Directed by Bobby Farrelly and starring Woody Harrelson, Champions is a heartwarming story of a former minor league basketball coach who manages a team of disabled players. He soon realizes the team of friends can go farther than imagined. A truth for Sinclair, who was born with fetal alcohol spectrum disorders, Tourette syndrome, and obsessive compulsive disorder. He played basketball in the Special Olympics in his younger years, and in the film, Blair plays on the basketball team coached by Harrelson.
We need to be represented in a way that is appropriate for there's a lot of things out there that people with disabilities can't do this, can't do that, but we are like we normal people too.
As the only Indigenous character in the cast, Sinclair says Blair is very much like himself.
I feel like Blair sometimes. He's outgoing, he's fun to be around, he's very friendly, he's funny, he's just always time of the party. Sounds rolling and action.
As an aspiring filmmaker, Farrelly let Sinclair call action in many of the scenes.
The first movie that I watched was the Jim Carrey Grinch movie, and that really inspired me. And I used to just watch the DVD extras over and over and over again to see how movies were made.
He says viewers can expect a lot of laughs as well as some unscripted scenes.
It was totally a blooper, but they kept it in the final film of me coming out of the changing room all excited, and I need to sit down on a bench, but I sat down on the bench and I totally miscalculated the seat and I just fell over. And yeah, it was really, really funny.
Champions was an opportunity for the entire family. Sinclair's siblings, Robin, Jerry, and Charlie, played as extras on opposing teams throughout the movie.
I've taken a couple of shots in the movie and played against my brother.
I am so happy for him because he made a good success being cast as one of the main characters.
Sinclair just got back to Manitoba after the movie premiered in New York City. He says while the red carpet experience was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, reconnecting with old friends meant the world.
This is Alex.
Sinclair says he's currently working on some short films of his own, but hopes to continue representing the Indigenous community on the big screen. Champions will be in theaters March 10th. Tamara Pimentel, APTN National News, Winnipeg.
Well, I know I can't wait to go and watch that one in theaters. All right, we have to take one more quick pause here. We'll be back with our photo of the day and weather next. Welcome back. It's time now for our photo of the day. Iris Flett captured this great shot. She saw this just before entering Garden Hill near Red Sucker Lake while she was traveling the winter road. It's a great shot. Thanks for sharing, Iris. If you have a picture to share, be sure to send that picture right now to share@aptn.ca. All right, now let's take a look at tomorrow's weather forecast. We begin on the East Coast, 1 degree in St. John's and 1 degree in Charlottetown. 0 in Cartwright with snow, and 0 in Happy Valley Goose Bay. 5 degrees in Quebec City and 4 in snow in Montreal. 3 in Toronto and -1 in snow in North Bay. -1 in clear in Wawa and -3 in Thunder Bay. -19 in Churchill and -13 in Thompson. -7 in Gimli and -6 in Winnipeg. -11 in Regina and -14 in snow in Saskatoon. -11 in Buffalo Narrows and -12 in Stony Rapids. As we head west, a -8 in snow in Fort Chipewyan and -9 in snow in Peace River. -11 in Edmonton and -9 in Calgary. 9 degrees in Vancouver and 2 in clear in Quesnel. 5 in Sandspit and -13 in Fort Nelson. -13 in Whitehorse and -9 in Rock River. Clear and -17 in Norman Wells and -16 in Yellowknife. Clear and -21 in Colville Lake and -14 in Inuvik. -25 in Cambridge Bay and clear and -23 in Baker Lake. -17 and clear in Resolute and -5 in Iqaluit. Actor-producer Tina Keeper discusses her time as a Member of Parliament on a new episode of Face to Face tonight. It's part 2 of Dennis's conversation with Keeper, who says despite the racism and misogyny she endured in the House of Commons, she isn't ruling out another political run of some kind.
I would love to re-enter politics again at some level. Like, I'm not sure where, how, when yet. I mean, I did really enjoy serving. I really did. I really loved the opportunity that you have to, you know, hear the issues from the people and meet with them, and, you know, you feel really blessed with their trust. And it's, I really enjoyed that part of the work.
A much-loved and respected elder from Cody First Nation in Treaty 4 territory was laid to rest today. A funeral for Stella Pelly was held on Cody First Nation in southern Saskatchewan near Kamsack. According to the Treaty Education Alliance that serves Treaty 4, Stella was the first female elder appointed when its Elders Advisory Council was established in 2020. Pelly's legacy includes her granddaughter, Isabella Kulak, the little girl who was shamed for wearing a ribbon skirt to a formal event at school. It sparked a movement across Turtle Island and led to the nationally recognized Ribbon Skirt Day on January the 4th. Stella Pelly was 65 years old. Our condolences certainly go out to the Pelly family. And that is all we have for you tonight on APTN National News. If you happen to miss any of our stories tonight, or you're looking for a little more information, you can head to our website, aptnnews.ca. I'm Daryl Stranger. For all of us here, thank you so much for joining us. Have a great night.